Welcome to Offshore Audio. I'm Andrew, I'm a live sound engineer, and on this channel I'm helping you guys to mix better live events. You can learn an awful lot in 2 years. I know I've learned a lot in the last 2 years, and I'm still learning every single day, even though I've been doing this for quite a while now. When you're starting out, there's so much to take in and it's quite easy to get overwhelmed. So I thought in this video, I would lay out 5 things that I've learned in the last 2 years that have helped me be a better sound engineer. And hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and get better quicker. Without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, the first tip that I'm really surprised it took me so long to work this one out is to always lock your wireless microphones, right? If you're working any sort of corporate event or with artists even, you need to learn to lock the wireless microphones before you give them to them. Don't give them control over the mute button or anything like that. Because artists or public speakers, they always think that they're smart and they're going to remember to turn it on, or they turn it off before they come off the stage to be nice to the next person, and they're going to ruin it for everyone, right? So you need to go into the settings and find a way to turn off the mute or lock the controls to the microphone somehow. Google the brand and the model number of the microphone that you're using with lock, and then lock it when you turn them on at the start of the day. Don't let anyone unlock it apart from you. And that's going to make sure that when your talent goes on the stage, the microphone is definitely on. Number 2 is to test the system thoroughly every single day. What does that look like? Go to your mixer and turn on a pink noise generator and send it out to every single individual speaker. I mean, send that to your left, send that to your right, send it to your tops, send it to side fills, front fills, delays, anywhere. Make sure that you send pink noise to that speaker one by one, and double check that it's all working as planned. Send it to your monitor speakers as well. Send it to any in-ears that you're connecting up. Just make sure that everything is working. Even if you work in the same venue every single day, do this. It's good practice and you never know when something is going to break. Remember to check your panning as well. Check that left is left and right is right, and that any stereo sources that you have connected are coming out of the PA in stereo. Make sure that your delay speakers are in stereo as well. Make sure that everything that's supposed to be in stereo is in stereo, and make time to do this every single show. Don't let the show get away from you and continue on without doing this, because this is the thing that will kick you in the ass if it catches up to you. If something breaks and you don't catch it until the show is on, that's a big problem. But if you just spend 5 minutes testing everything before you start the show, you'll catch a problem early, and then you can flag it up and say, we're going to need some time to fix this. Tip number 3 is to be meticulous. Now, this isn't a specific action so much as just a mindset about how you do things. The difference between being good and great is an attention to detail. That can look like double checking artist riders before they get there, double checking any kind of schedules, double checking microphone positioning, double checking that everything is connected properly. It's coiling cables neatly when you set them out. It's making sure that the stage looks pristine when the band are going to go on, or when you're done at the end of the night. It means that if you hear something that is not quite right at soundcheck, fix it then and there. Don't think, oh, I'll fix it later, it'll turn out fine. It also looks like that reverb doesn't quite sit right with that vocal. Stop, check the reverb, adjust it, make that reverb as good as it can be in the time that you have got. Several years ago, I would have let a lot of these sort of small things slide because I was working on shows of my own and I was like, do you know what, I'll be fine. But in the last few years, I've worked a lot more with other people, and working with other people is a really great way to increase your standard and know that you need to sort of hold up your end of the bargain as well. And if you both have this sort of unspoken agreement, then the standard of the shows that you work on can be really, really great. Don't settle for less, be great. Number 4 is to measure a lot more stuff, a lot more sound. Now, this is a relatively new one to me. I always was quite intimidated by the idea of measuring and getting data for sound systems, but it's actually really, really affordable to put together a measurement rig, and it's not that difficult to learn and just get started. I made a video about it, which I'll leave a link to up here. Speaking of measurements and EQ, if you need a basic foundation EQ, you can check out my 3-step guide to perfect EQ. It's just a simple PDF guide that takes you through my 3-step sort of program, let's call it. It's not Alcoholics Anonymous, but it takes you through my 3 steps to great EQ every single time. You can get that by heading to the link down below or going to offshoreaudio.no/. EQ. But as humans, we experience everything quite subjectively. So measurement is so important. And for some reason in the sound field, it's just not regarded as quite as important as in other fields. How about measuring SPL every show you go to? How loud actually is the gig? That's a big one that we're terrible at measuring SPL with our ears. You know, over time we get adjusted to how loud things are. The more deaf we are, the more loud we want it to be. That doesn't reduce the amount of damage it does to us and other people. So you should be measuring SPL, and you should know what the safe limits are for people so that you at least know where you should guide the ship that you're steering. Measure the frequency response of the system that you're using. Measure the speakers, measure the room, and help that to adjust the system to get consistent sound every time and to get nice sound every time. That also helps you pinpoint actual errors, like when you rig up a speaker system and you measure it and suddenly it's not conforming to your expectations at all. You can say, oh look, actually for whatever reason the high frequency driver and the speaker's totally gone. I'm glad we caught that. Especially in cheaper systems, I've found way more like inverted high frequency drivers than I ever thought I actually would. And so when the high frequency driver is phase inverted from the sort of mid-range woofer, you actually end up with a big cancellation at 2 kilohertz or wherever the crossover region is. So yeah, measure things. By adding measurement, you have more data to make decisions with. You can still use your ears, but you also have hard data. You're also building another skill set, which is only going to get better and make you get better as well. Number 5, the most important one, is be a nice person. This isn't new info. This isn't something that I have learned in the last 2 years, but it's something that is just as important to me now as it has been throughout my entire career. Beyond just basic competence in sound, it's being nice that gets you gigs. It's being nice that makes other people want to work with you again. And in this industry, people want to work with people that they like. And that extends to everyone, whether that is artists or fellow technicians or whatever. Be humble but assertive in your job. You know, you have custody of the stage, but you are not the boss of the stage and the people on it. It's not your stage. You can tell people what you need to do a good job, but you can't tell them what they must do. No one likes the boss anyway, so who wants to be the person that no one likes? And remember, it's all fun, right? Like when you get a rider and you're like, oh man, it's a complicated setup, and you rig it all up. The band comes in, the rider was totally wrong. There's actually only 2 of them and you've rigged up in your monitors for 5. This happened last week. Just remember, it's all fun and games. It's still music, you know, or live events or whatever it is. It's like, it's not life and death. It's not heart surgery. We're just putting on a show and going, yeah, cool, big sounds, big lights. This was good, wasn't it? When the band's late, remember, it's just entertainment. Shit happens. Delays happen. The show will go on. Everyone will be happy. And when you're talking to people, remember to ask questions beyond the technical to be a sort of interesting human being. When you ask them, have you played here before? Do you play in any other bands? Do you play any other instruments? What kind of stuff do you listen to when you're not playing? If they're public speakers, why don't you ask them, do you do a lot of public speaking? Have you spoken in a lot of interesting places? Get to travel much with your work? What are you going to do after the show? Do you think you'll chill out, get a beer, just go straight home? Are you staying in a hotel? Make conversation. Be a pleasant human being who people like, and people will go away saying, yeah, I really like that person. They were good to work with. I'd like to work with them again. Leave a comment down below. What's the best thing that you've learned in the last 2 years about your sound engineering journey? Does this resonate with you? Anything you disagree with? I'd love to hear from you. I'll leave some more helpful videos around here to get you going in live sound. But until next time, thanks for watching. Goodbye.